Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. If you've ever stood on a tiny apartment balcony or looked at a small concrete patio, or maybe just stared at an empty little corner of your yard and thought, man, I would really love to grow my own food right there, but it's just way too small, well, I'm so glad you're here because you are exactly where you need to be today. I know gardening can seem super intimidating. It can kind of feel like this exclusive club where everybody else already knows all the rules, right? But I promise you, we are going to walk through this together, step by step, nice and easy. You are about to learn exactly how to start your very first garden. Here is the absolute most important thing you're going to hear today right off the bat. A small space does not mean no garden. You really, truly do not need a big backyard to grow your own vegetables. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to take whatever tiny space you have and turn it into a genuinely productive vegetable garden. And I'm talking about a garden that actually gives you real, fresh food you can put on your dinner plate, not just a couple of sad, struggling pots. By the time we wrap up here, you're going to know how to create real success right from your very first season. All right, let's dive right in with setting your garden's foundation. Let's start our journey by setting you up for absolute success. So step 1 is picking the right spot, and your magic number for a vegetable garden is 6. Most fruiting vegetables, we're talking your juicy tomatoes, your crunchy peppers, they need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight every single day to really produce well. So before you even buy a single seed, I want you to take a Saturday, grab a cup of coffee, and literally just sit and watch where the sun hits your balcony or patio throughout the day. Does the railing block the afternoon light? Or maybe a big tree cast a heavy shadow right at noon? Actually, it's completely fine if it does, but you really just need to know. Now, if you do find out your space gets less than 6 hours of light, don't despair at all. No way. You simply shift your focus toward herbs and leafy greens because they tolerate lower light beautifully. Still on step 1 here, because this is a practical reality that a lot of beginners just completely overlook. You absolutely must place your garden somewhere where watering is genuinely easy for you. Containers dry out significantly faster than ground soil, especially once that summer heat really kicks in. So think about this realistically for a second. If you have to lug a heavy, sloshing watering can through your carpeted living room or carry it down a flight of stairs every single day in July, I guarantee your garden will quickly turn from a joy into a miserable chore. Keeping your garden right near a tap or a hose, that turns watering into a really happy, relaxing routine. Okay, moving to step 2, which is all about containers. And trust me, size matters far more than you might think here. A tiny, beautiful decorative pot might look amazing on a home design blog, but on a hot afternoon, that little pot will dry out in a matter of hours, leaving your poor plants gasping, thirsty, and totally stressed out. Instead, you want to grab a sturdy 5-gallon bucket or just a nice large container. A larger pot gives the roots plenty of room to stretch out, like they're in a big, comfortable bed, and it causes you far less daily watering stress. Just make absolutely sure your pots have proper drainage holes at the very bottom. If they don't, the water just pulls up inside and literally rots those roots within days. Step 3 is using the right soil. And listen, this is where we avoid one of the most common beginner traps out there. Please do not dig up dirt straight from your yard and pack it into a pot. After just a few waterings, native ground soil turns into a heavy, dense brick inside a container. The roots are essentially trapped in concrete, completely suffocated. Instead, always use a good quality potting mix. Potting mix is specifically designed with light, airy materials. It acts almost like thousands of tiny little sponges, so the roots can easily push through, breathe, and access the water they desperately need. And when you're filling those containers with that lovely light potting mix, you want to boost it with some compost and a slow-release fertilizer. Think of this like packing a really highly nutritious, hearty lunch for your plants. A slow-release fertilizer acts like a steady, consistent drip of vitamins over several months. And that is exactly what vegetables need to thrive. Without it, relying only on quick, liquid plant foods, well, it's a bit like giving a toddler a massive sugar rush. They grow incredibly fast for a week, and then they just completely crash. The slow-release method guarantees steady, reliable growth throughout the whole season. Okay, moving into phase 2, maximizing your tiny space. Now that our foundation is set up perfectly, I want to reassure you that we can get a massive, bountiful harvest out of a truly tiny footprint. We just need to shift our thinking a little bit, using 3 specific strategies. Number 1, we're gonna grow vertically. Number 2, we pick compact crops. And number 3, we plant in layers. This is the secret sauce, where small gardens genuinely become incredibly powerful. So, step 4 is to grow vertically. Let me tell you, this is a small space gardener's absolute secret weapon. You can actually grow 3 to 4 times more food in the exact same footprint just by doing this. Think of your garden kind of like a busy city skyline. When you run out of ground space, what do? You just build skyscrapers. So instead of letting a cucumber, pea, or bean plant sprawl flat across your limited floor space like a messy, tangled carpet, you send them up. You just use trellises, wire cages, or simple wooden stakes to train those climbing crops upward into the empty air. It saves a ton of space, it keeps the plants way healthier with better airflow, and it brings the vegetables right up to eye level for super easy picking. Step 5 is picking compact crops. You know, some tomato plants literally want to grow 10 feet tall and just take over your entire patio, and you really do not want those. Instead, look on the seed packets or plant tags for words like bush or compact varieties. Bush beans, bush cucumbers, and compact tomatoes act like extremely polite guests in your garden. They stay entirely within their designated zone, they grow like a neat, tidy little shrub, and they still produce a massive amount of food without taking over the whole shebang. Oh, and another amazing tip for picking crops: choose ones that grow super quickly. Radishes, for example, go from a tiny little seed to a crunchy snack in just about 30 days. Leafy greens like spinach are incredibly fast too. By choosing fast-maturing crops, you pull them up to eat, and boom, that prime real estate is open again. It's basically like a revolving door of fresh food, allowing you to replant the exact same square foot of space multiple times. This effectively doubles your productivity across the whole season. Step 6 is planting in layers. This is essentially how a mature forest works out in nature, and we can easily mimic it right inside a simple 5-gallon bucket. Imagine you have a tall trellised tomato plant reaching up high. It's acting like the big forest canopy, right? Well, down below, around the base of the plant, the soil is completely bare. So you can tuck some delicate, low-growing lettuce right underneath it. That tomato acts as a natural sun umbrella, keeping the lettuce nice and cool and protected on a hot July afternoon, which greens absolutely love, by the way. You can even tuck herbs into the empty gaps around the edges. You get a much bigger harvest without the space ever looking cramped or messy.
All right, let's wrap up with watering and feeding properly.
Let's talk about your daily maintenance. Step 7 is proper watering. When you check your soil moisture and decide, okay, it's time to water, you must do a deep, thorough soak. Imagine being incredibly thirsty after a heavy, sweaty workout, and someone just hands you a tiny little thimble of water. That's not gonna cut it, right? A light surface splash from a watering can only wets the very top inch of soil. The deep roots sitting at the bottom of the pot, they are still dying of thirst. Deep watering reaches all the way down, soaking the whole pot, which encourages those roots to grow strong and resilient against the intense summer heat. And right alongside that deep watering, you should build a simple, consistent feeding routine. Remember that slow-release fertilizer we mixed into the soil at the very beginning? Well, adding a gentle liquid fertilizer every couple of weeks when you water is like giving your plants an extra little vitamin smoothie to go with their lunch. It takes maybe 5 extra seconds to mix into your watering can, but the payback in fresh, healthy vegetables is enormous. This combination of checking soil moisture and consistent feeding guarantees your plants stay genuinely productive all season long. Real quick, let's look at some common mistakes to avoid. Please don't view any of these as failures, okay? Just think of them as easy to avoid traps that almost all new gardeners naturally fall into. Knowing them now puts you way ahead of the curve. These pitfalls include choosing a spot with poor, insufficient light, using heavy ground soil instead of light, airy potting mix, overcrowding containers with too many plants fighting for the same root space, trying to grow massive, sprawling crops in small pots, and ignoring vertical support. But honestly, you don't even have to worry about these because we discovered exactly how to solve every single one of them. I want to leave you with this really empowering final thought. A small space does not mean a small harvest. If you give your plants enough sunlight, use proper containers with good drainage, grow vertically wherever you possibly can, and choose the right compact crops for your space, you are going to be absolutely amazed. You can build a genuine vegetable garden that feeds you well right through the entire season, no matter how little room you actually have to work with. So, I just have one final question for you before we go. Which corner of your home will become a garden today? Go ahead, take a look at your balcony, your patio, or maybe that little sunny spot by the back door with fresh, hopeful eyes. You have absolutely everything you need to start right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy gardening.